everyone. Thanks for being here tonight and welcome to my kitchen. I am Dana and tonight we are heading to Italy and we're going to do some chicken Parmesan meatballs. Oh, let me introduce the dogs to you because that was Rocky, our pet velociraptor, and then of course he was barking at Otis, who is just an old man that just wants to be left alone. And behind the camera, although not right at this second, he is dog wrangling at the moment, is Robbie, who is very, very happy that he's not going to be running in and out to the grill today, I am sure.
It's a little dark outside.
We may hear some thunder, we may see some lightning. It's definitely, most likely, probably going to rain.
If the signal goes out, we'll be back.
Right. So sometimes we lose electricity or the signal here. We'll be right back if that happens. I have not set up some video for you to watch in that if that happens. Yep, that was what I was trying to say. One day that'll be set up. So tonight we're going to be making chicken Parmesan meatballs. We are going to be making breadsticks, which I've already started. And then we're going to be making vodka, pasta alla vodka. Ooh, words.
Did you start on the vodka
one day?
already?
No, and then Negronis and also a peach crostada for dessert. At some point, the espresso I drank will kick in, and boy, that might be fun for all of us, because who knows? I was exhausted, but I wanted to be awake for you. And the first thing I want to get started on, because I need to let it sit and all the flavors kind of get together, is making an herb oil that we're going to be using with the chicken Parmesan. Herb oils are great to make on your own. If you've been in here before, you know I say this, I've said this multiple times. It's one of the things that chefs do in order to make things quicker is they already have herb infused oils. And don't go out and spend like 15, 20 bucks on 2 or 3 ounces of this stuff in the grocery store, because it's super, super easy to make and it's not hard at all. So, and thank you guys, Hot and Ready. Hi to you and hi to King of APOC. Thank you guys for being here. Yes, Rocky has been particularly crazy today. Very, very crazy today. Okay, so for my herb oil, I already have, Robbie's gonna put the other camera on here so you can see. In the pot that I've got on here, I've got 16 ounces of EVOO, or extra virgin olive oil. And we're going to be putting in some cloves. We're going to take 6 of these bitties and put them in there. And actually, do not worry about peeling them. That is not necessary. Not peeling them. You want to peel them, you're not going to need to chop them. Okay? And I like garlic, and these are little cloves, so I may actually throw a bonus one in there. So we just need to peel them and get the paper off of them. And I'm going to throw those in the oil over here as I go. 1. How's everybody doing tonight? We doing good? Do you have thunderstorms like we do? And they're kind of pop-up ones. They're just randomly showing up. It was hot today. Is that 3? It doesn't matter. I'll put extra ones if I lose count. All right, 4, 5. And if you can see, on the counter next to me are all some lovely herbs from my garden, which I love, because you spend like 2 or 3 bucks for them at the beginning of the season instead of having to go to the grocery store every time you need fresh herbs and spending 2 bucks. This basil's especially one of my favorites because you do that with some tomatoes right out of the garden. It is awesome. Well, you're looking for new employment. So what do you do for a living? You can throw that out there. Maybe somebody's watching. All right, I'm going to put a bunch of basil. If you've got basil leaves that are all like the same size, like these big basil leaves, you probably need about 10 of them. I'm going to put in a couple of sprigs of rosemary that are falling all over the place. And then I'm going to put in a bunch of thyme. Thyme is also one of my favorite. Oh, for the Union Pacific Railroad, I can't help you there. I don't happen to have a train.
You have a friend that husband that works in the industry, sort of, kind
No, he works in the industry, but he sells products to the railroads.
He's more on the software side.
Yeah. So, like he makes switches and stuff like that. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and you're going to hear a lot. You may hear a lot of popping and snapping over here, and that is okay. Oh, also red chili peppers. So you want about a teaspoon of those. And again, we like spicy over here, especially Robbie. So if there's a little bit more and it's a little spicier, that's fine. And if you don't like spicy, put just a little bit in there, because it does bring flavor. Oh my goodness. Hey, Kenara. Hey, welcome. Welcome. So tell me, what did you do? I'm assuming you are a cooking stream, and tell me what you made, how'd it go for you tonight, and everything. Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm Dana. So, and tonight we are doing some Italian food. I'm going to make some chicken Parmesan meatballs, and we're doing vodka sauce with some penne with vodka sauce, and we're going to do some breadsticks, a peach crostata, Negronis, and yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. I've already started on some herb oil that we're making for the chicken Parmesan stuff. So thank you guys. Thank you, John. Let's see, Geek Boy, Minnesota. We have Kenara with John Leon. I'm not even sure if I'm saying that right. Probably not. Tay Casala. Thank you guys for following. Thank you guys. And shout out. Yeah, shout out to Kenara. So guys, thank you, Joy Carr. Thanks for following, and thanks for being here. For the people who are here today, make sure you go and follow. We do like to support our other cooking shows here on Twitch. So thank you, McLuck. Did I say that right? Milluck83. Thank you for the follows. So that is what we are making today. Yeah, chicken, Geek Boy, Minnesota, chicken Parmesan, get in my mouth, absolutely. And what's great about this is these are meatballs, and so they make an awesome, awesome appetizer. But I've got a lot of stuff to make, so so we started already. So what you see on here is some herb oil that's got some red pepper and basil and garlic and rosemary and thyme in it. And I'm just going to let that boil and then let it sit around and steep to get all those good flavors into the oil. Thank you, Shayna208. Thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. Hi, Aladdin's girl. Good to see you here. And thanks, guys. Yeah, so stick around. We're going to get working on that. What I do need to do first, before we start making the chicken Parmesan meatballs, is I need to make the crust for the crostata, because that's got to go sit in the refrigerator for an hour before we actually put the whole thing together. So we'll start with that. So thank you, True Sensivity. Thanks and welcome. Welcome to the crew. So I have already measured out almond flour. This is a gluten-free version of a crostata, and this is 300 grams of almond flour. So we're going to put that in there with some salt, which I've got over here, and I'm going to put in about a half a teaspoon of salt. And just mix that together, and then we're going to get our wet ingredients and mix all those together. So what'd you guys make over there on Kihara's? I missed it if it was in there. Oh, you did
Two
two
burgers
burgers from
from
Bob's Burgers. Oh, burgers are always a favorite when we do those. Burgers and tacos and steaks seem to be the favorite. But we're doing Italian tonight, so also good. It's also
I hope so, because we're getting hungry.
good. Well, you'll just have to wait. Oh, and if you're wondering who all is here, we have that voice you hear, that disembodied voice is Robbie, who does all my tech stuff. He washes the majority of the dishes and all of that. Oh, was that you waving at everybody? That was his hand, yeah. Sometimes he's a sous chef. He's a dog wrangler, because I always have 2 dogs in the studio audience. And my brother is actually here lurking behind the camera as well. So he went out and got pizza today, the 2 of them. So they're ready for more Italian food with that. Robbie for the win, yes, yes. Thank you, Aspie. Yeah, thank you guys. I like my kitchen, so thank you. And he gets to eat the food. That's exactly what he says. Even if he stands there for half an hour and washes dishes, he goes, it's worth it. I got fed. So, all right. So, we probably, that's kind of boring. Okay, so let's move over here. What I did over here, and I'm trying to see if I'm on camera, blah, blah, blah. Okay, is we have the almond meal and salt, so not very exciting yet. And now I'm going to put the wet ingredients, and then we're going to put it in here and kind of toss it together. So, for the wet ingredients, there's coconut oil, which isn't super wet. You know, it's kind of a, let's get the salt over there. Not that I think that'll hurt anything. Thank you for the follow. I'll get Nate's here in a second. I've only been doing this for about 2.5 months, so I'm still trying to learn all the ins and outs of making sure I talk to all you guys. So thank you, is it Pila and Happy Wayfarer Fun for the follows. And Smethers. Yeah, you can smell it already. Yeah. We keep talking over here about we should have smell-o-vision. That would be really fun.
We haven't invented that yet?
Huh?
We haven't invented that yet?
Ooh, you had Italian Friday. You fed 11 people. Wow. What did you guys have for your Italian Friday? I've got stuff all over the place. All right, so I've got a couple of tablespoons of coconut oil, and then we're going to do a couple of tablespoons of honey. Eventually, it'll happen. So again, we're going to be making a peach crostada. So I'm just kind of getting all of that stuff prepped. We're going to make the dough, and then I'll get the peaches sliced and start macerating those so that they're nice and sugary when we put this thing in the oven. So it is dark here today, that is true. So thank you, let's see, thank you Kenara, and thank you Mobius and Lukey Bears. Welcome, welcome. That's awesome. Yeah, so did I, oh yeah, you made the Bob's Burgers. Did you make anything with the Bob's Burgers? Were they delicious? Did you eat them? We had made burgers last night. We did brisket burgers last night. But we didn't do that on Twitch, so we just ate them here.
We could have leftover brisket burgers.
That's
exciting.
And if Robbie or my brother David get too hungry, they'll probably go behind my back and pull them out of the refrigerator.
We would never do that.
Yes, you would. You would totally do that. This honey's coming out really slow. Ah. There we go. Honey, 2 tablespoons. Coconut oil, 2 tablespoons honey. We need 1 egg, except that these are teeny, teeny, tiny eggs, so I'm actually going to use a little bit more. Ooh, and they're crumbly. So I'm actually going to crack the second one in this bowl and take part of it. like this. I'm doing this with my hands. All right. And that's because it called for a large egg, and a large egg is about 2 ounces. Medium eggs are less than that, about 1.5 ounces. All right, I'm gonna turn that off and let that steep. And then we need a teaspoon of vanilla, and that is this part, the wet part. I was already talking about how words are hard for me today, so.
Has the espresso kicked in yet?
And I had an espresso because words were so hard for me. So that will kick in at some point, and I'm sure that you guys will notice when it kicks in.
Is that when you start jumping around the kitchen?
Maybe. I might sing.
Or singing? Or both?
I might run around with the dogs. I don't know. So we're going to mix that together. And I'm trying to break down that coconut oil a little bit since it's kind of solidified. I thought about melting it, but then I was afraid I would cook the eggs, which I don't want to do yet. So, Red Bull is your secret? Yeah. Yeah.
That'd get the party started.
So my Red Bull story is one of my friends, we were out one night and we were at House of Blues and I was exhausted and she goes, here, let me get you a vodka Red Bull. It's delicious. And she got it for me and I tasted it and I went, this is possibly one of the worst things I've ever tasted in my life. So I'm not a huge Red Bull fan. I'd rather drink stupidly strong coffee, and I was making this face as I drank it, and Robbie can verify that, is that I would take it and I go like that.
More Red Bull for me.
Do you like Red Bull?
I'll drink it.
Oh, okay. All right. I know it's I help you, well, I don't help. My kitchen is always a wreck when I'm done. And I was prepping stuff earlier and Robbie's like, I just cleaned everything out of the sink. Okay. So pour that in there. Get all of it out of here. Because we want all of those flavors. I've never made a crostada this way, so we'll see how it turns out. Another one of my taglines is, I mess up so you don't have to. So sometimes things don't come out as good as we want them to. But I like trying new things, and why not try it where you can embarrass yourself in front of a lot of people. So, well, thank you, Drink More Arsenic. By the way, Drink More Arsenic is Robbie, because that's a great name to have when you're working on a cooking show. I don't advise drinking more arsenic. I want to be super, super clear. Oh, this is why you did it.
Maybe.
Can I do it after I finish this and get this in the refrigerator? So here's what we do. Well, now I'll let you explain. What happens? What happens when there's a sub?
When there's a sub, they get to spin the wheel of agony, and then you will...
Oh, are you picking me?
I won't pick myself this time. No.
You get to pick who spins the wheel, me or Robbie, or you can have us do rock, paper, scissors if you don't want to choose. But really weirdly, Robbie wants me to do it. I don't know why. He has spun habanero more times than me.
3 in a row one week. That was fun.
All right. So we've got this kind of soft dough forming here. And it's a little strange. That's fine. We'll make it work. I also am one of those kind of like, it doesn't have to look perfect. I started cooking because my mom and my grandmother were such amazing, amazing cooks. And I kind of do this in ode to them because I got to grow up with lots of yummy food and I love to cook in the kitchen. So I'm just kind of like, I'm mom, I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, I'm learning stuff. All right, I don't want that plastic wrap. So we're gonna put this in the refrigerator and we'll put our crostada together maybe in an hour or so. And Robbie, make sure I'm still in the frame, right?
You were in the frame.
I am in the frame.
And for now, we still have power, so that's good.
And we do have power. There are thunderstorms right now. which sometimes lead to power failures around here, but we'll get back on. They're usually pretty short if it happens. But nothing like the winter storm in Texas, because that's where we are, when we didn't have power for 2 days.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
Yep. Yes, it was. Oh. I mean, or just find a nice boyfriend who will work for food
Yeah,
that you've cooked anyway.
She found a Robbie, and that fixed her dishes problem.
That's what I did. All right, so now we've got this nice, that kind of came together really nice. So we're gonna let that sit in the refrigerator. I'm trying some gluten-free recipes. I love gluten, I do. I love gluten. It's so yummy. But it doesn't like me very much, so I still will suffer for gluten the next day. All right, so the next thing, oh, I gotta spin this wheel. Hang on, let me spin the wheel.
Yay, wheel hype.
Okay. All right, are you ready? Oh, because yes, I've thought about getting some backups because of the winter thing, because it was cold. It was cold. You teach a class on prepping power outages. Well, they still bother me. They're power outages, and it's Texas, so you know how hot it gets in the summer if you don't have power on. Okay, all right, there we go. Oh, shishito pepper. That's probably the best thing other than salsa dancing on there, because
That would have served me right if we had to salsa dance instead.
I know. It's very close. It's very close. I could just do this, right? The worst is the wasabi paste, honestly, because it goes up your nose. It's terrible.
For now, it sounds like you've got some stuff that people are sending you.
Yes. Yes. All right. The thing about shishito peppers is they can be really spicy or not spicy at all. So here's hoping. I know Robbie would like to see me in pain. I mean, he wanted to call this the wheel of death, and I'm like, what? The wheel of death?
I've been watching too much Alton Brown.
Yeah. It's a little spicy, but it's not bad. All right. See you later, Aspie. It's not too spicy. Not too spicy. So, let's see here. The Midwest. So, Smethers, where did you live in the Midwest? Because I love thunderstorms. I would miss them.
Kansas, 30 years.
Oh, is that what you said?
A couple lines above that.
Oh, Kansas for 30 years. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like them. Okay. I mean, it's not pleasant to eat shishito peppers that haven't been cooked, but that wasn't too bad. Okay, on to making some meatballs. And I know the boys over here are looking forward to that. So here, I'm letting that oil steep a little bit. It's not going, normally I would let it sit here for probably an hour. We don't have that, so I won't do that. Now it's raining a lot. Oh, it's still on. Let's turn that off. That's why it's probably still so hot, is because I left the burner on. So, moved to Dallas to near St. Louis right before the turn. Oh, okay. So I'm actually from St. Louis, Geek Boy, Minnesota. So I had many people asking me to do toasted raviolis today, but we're going to save that for another stream because I figured out how to make them really well this winter. That was fun. One good thing about the pandemic is I learned how to cook some things. I got to play around and experiment. So, oh, Edwardsville. Oh yeah, I knew some people who lived there. So. Do you know the Nieskis? Don't you love that? I'm from St. Louis, so if you're in here, I went to Parkway South. You'll understand what that is if you're from St. Louis. Okay, so Parmesan meatballs. So the first thing we're gonna do with them is we are going to mix, well, yeah, we're gonna mix some Parmesan meatballs with some, this is gonna be just to roll them in. I've got these. I'm just walking around in circles. It's awesome. My scale is acting up. I like to use a scale, but I apparently put it underwater, so it gives me random numbers today. But what we want is we want about a half an ounce of breadcrumbs. I'll probably need more than that because when I've made this before, I usually run out. And then about an ounce of Parmesan cheese. I like to grate my own cheeses because when you get the cheese in the store, it's got things in it to keep it from melting. So especially if you're melting cheese, you definitely want fresh grated cheese that you grate yourself. And I say that, and I have pre-grated mozzarella for later, but the store grated it so it doesn't have all those additives in it. So, let's see. Heating jars and packing with aluminium. You're having fun heating jars and pack. Oh, because you had all those jalapenos you were pickling. I remember that. Yeah. Cool. Very cool. Okay. I am kind of all over the place today, aren't I?
Does that mean it kicked in, the espresso?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with me. I already have the chicken out. This is another one of my fun games I play, which is look for something that's right in front of me.
If she says she can't find it, Chet, just say it's in front of you.
It's in front of you. I felt much better. I don't know if any of you watch Alton Brown, but the other day he literally had his hand on what he was looking for and he couldn't find it.
And he was losing it.
He was totally. He's like, where to go? Where to go? And then he blamed his wife for putting it there.
Did you just put that there? Are you pranking me?
Notice I don't have my trash bowl over there. Okay, I need about 1.5 pounds of chicken. This is a little over 2 pounds, so total out of these 2 packages. So I'm guessing, because again, my scale is giving me random numbers, which is going to be making the meatballs. It's going to be a little harder because I usually use that for making the meatballs. It is thunder hot and ready. So
is that your tip of the day? Don't get electronics wet?
Yes, if you have an electric scale, don't immerse it in water like me. You know what? Can you put this in just a bag and get it back in the fridge so it's not sitting out?
Probably.
He put his apron on, so I'm putting him to work. All right. I need to wash my hand because I have chicken all over it. They can see you and they can't see me. Woohoo!
There you go. I fixed that. I know that you're the one that wants to be on camera. So
I know.
I'll
It's funny. It's funny because when we started this 2.5 months ago, Robbie was like, "I'll just be behind the camera," and I'm like, "Yeah. You don't need to be in front of the camera." He's been on a lot more than he wants to be. Okay, let's get a tablespoon of that oil in here. This is why you really want it to. You want it to cool off because you don't want to put hot oil in there. So I'm going to let it sit for a couple more minutes. It'll be the last thing I put in here. Not to mention I need to strain it, right? It is a GOT apron. He has an apron that says dinner is coming. Alrighty.
There you go.
See? So, yes.
That's hot.
I like food shirt better though. That's really a great way to put it. All right, we need, I need about 3 ounces. Oh, that's not the Parmesan, that's the stuff. I need about 3 ounces of Parmesan. And again, I'm gonna guess here. And this is very light because I used a micro grater for it. I need an egg, but again, my eggs are very small. Oh, you know what? Like I can save it. So the other half of the egg that I didn't use for the crostada, I'm going to throw in there. Because the egg is the binder. And we need some panko. And it's supposed to be, I'm guessing, because I can't weigh anything. I mean, I could.
Don't worry, we'll still eat it.
It'll still be good. Now we need some dried herbs. I think I need basil, thyme, garlic powder. So we're going to use some garlic. Now this I could measure, but this is the way I usually cook. Do I need thyme? I do not. I need basil and I need parsley. And for this, you want dried parsley. And I need oregano. You see, in addition to your birthday list, the apron, yeah. And then some salt. Don't forget the salt. And then the herb oil. So this is about as long as I'm going to wait for it. I will strain this later, but for now, I'll just make sure I don't get any of the garlic in there. Because a big hunk of garlic chomping into that probably wouldn't taste very good. Or it might if you really, really like burned garlic. No?
I really like garlic, the big old chunk. And
So I usually like to grind my own meat, but I did not this time because I haven't actually done it with chicken yet, so I'll have to play with that someday. You are not the only one who keeps waiting. Robbie's pretty good over here. He doesn't give me too much trouble. You know what? I would like some more panko in here because I don't think this is enough now that I've got my hands in it. If you can throw some in there. A little bit more. Can you get a little bit more? Perfect. And then I need a baking pan, cookie sheet. That's the way I do these. It's the easiest way to make them. And what's great is if you have company over, you can actually do this part ahead of time, stick them in the fridge, and just pull them out when you're ready to start cooking them. So I would normally measure these, and I would make them about an ounce. But again, we're just going to have to guess here. And we're going to take these and we're going to roll them in this bread and Parmesan mixture here and put them on the cookie sheet before we cook them in the pan. That if you're looking at the emote that Fallen Age and Drink More Arsenic is done over here, that is, which is Robbie, that is Rocky, our velociraptor, our pet velociraptor, who always likes to test the system to see what he can get. And he will probably show his face over the counter here in a minute. And if you've got channel points, or we could just have Robbie give you a free puppy cam. He's actually behaving. He's just sitting behind me, waiting. No, David is my brother. Robbie is my boyfriend, or I'm his girlfriend. Even though we've known each other for a very long time, but did you figure out how to get on Twitch, my brother?
I'm not currently on Twitch.
Okay. I mean, I know you can figure it out. If Robbie's mom can figure it out. Oh no, it's Joyce. Are you in here today? Robbie's mom is usually in here. Kelsey, my daughter's usually in here. If any of you watch Cody Spencer on Twitch, he's DS Koopa. That is my son-in-law. And I know he's on a road trip right now. So, you have a brother named David too. He is cute, but don't let him fool you. Don't let him. These are wildly uneven meatballs, but we will make do. He really, I mean, you can ask anybody who's met him, they'll go, he's so cute, he's so fluffy, he's so soft. And then they'll be like, oh, yeah. He's also a velociraptor.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I have another job for you.
What?
Are you excited?
Yes.
I knew it. There's Parmesan cheese over there, and there's some in here, and I'm gonna need more breadcrumbs and Parmesan cheese, because I told you I should know better. I always need more breading than I think I do. And what's cool about these no, I don't want the grain-free one. We've already got the panko
You got
over
good
here.
ones over here.
Yeah. I've got the stuff with the gluten in it over here.
So in here? Or?
You can put it all in here just to make it easier since I'm using this. So, and now my brother's taking pictures of me. Surprise! So, I know you had help getting on, Joyce. But you figured it out with help. I'm sure now you get on all by yourself. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
that,
yeah.
That doesn't sound promising.
It sounds very promising to me. These are not the most even meatballs. The one thing about my mom when she would cook is that she would get really upset if things didn't turn out perfectly, and I am not generally one of those people. I'm like, people are here, I think, for the company, sometimes the food, and it's okay. That should be okay, but now we need some breadcrumbs in there, and then we'll put it all in this bowl over here, because I am out. No, more. Okay, that's good. And you can mix those with your clean hands as opposed to mine. I have chicken hands. Chicken hands. And look, all the cameras are working today. That's exciting.
That's always nice.
Yes.
The tech guy appreciates that.
Can you stick that in here now? He's like the utility man. I just cook.
Just cook? That's the hard part.
I mean, I make the menus and grocery shop and cook, but see, and I think the part you do is hard.
It is when it doesn't want to work.
So it works for both of us. Okay, Rocky. So he has a lead on so that he doesn't get into too much trouble because he's a puppy. So he's still learning, and he likes to run around your legs with the lead on and try to take you out like an AT-AT walker in Star Wars. And we haven't even shown him that movie yet.
And he's almost succeeded a couple times on
He's
stream.
On stream, he's almost tripped me a couple times. That wouldn't get clipped, would it? Nobody would clip that.
Chat would never do that.
Your daughter, my daughter's actually pretty good when she's here. It was fun when she was here cooking with me, even though she'd be like, you didn't tell me that. And I'm like, attitude, girl. So, you can't imagine. I can just see it being clipped. I mean, when I did a spoon dance, that got clipped, so. You haven't seen that for a while, have you?
I haven't seen it for a while.
I wish I got to figure out how to do some music on this, because I mean, this is really one of those households where we always have music going.
And I would never link it in chat either.
No, you wouldn't. Oh, okay, cool, awesome. That's okay. Maybe somebody will subscribe and want you to eat a habanero. But, oh, can you take this wheel out of the way? It's okay. I'm very bossy. But he knew that because when we started dating and he was helping me with a project with my parents, and I kept telling him what to do, and I said, I'm sorry, I'm being really bossy. And he's like, that's fine. And I was like, oh, I take that as permission.
Is it too late to take that back?
No. Yes, it's too late.
That's too bad.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. Yeah, I made these a lot bigger than I usually do. So if you're ever making these, make them about an ounce a piece. You will usually get about 20 to 24 meatballs if you do it that way. I'm only going to get probably about 18, so these are a little bit bigger.
And the ovens are on and ready to go?
Ovens are on. They're ready for stuff.
Because that's gotten forgotten from time to time, so I thought I'd ask.
So, welcome to my show where Robbie just reminds me of all the things that I do. It's okay. I
do a little more than that, but yeah, that's part of the fun.
I mess up, so you don't have to. It's all fine. Oh, last one. Rocky. Meanwhile, I have the other dog, and he's just a sweetheart. What's he doing anyway?
He's asleep on the couch.
Sleeping? That's what he does these days. He's 14. Rocky is 1. We had a birthday party for him here on the stream. I made cupcakes.
And they loved them.
And they loved those because it was topped with peanut butter and bacon.
They tore them apart. You're not
I'm
singing.
not singing the do-do-do song, huh? Oh, there he is. Can you guys see him?
They can see the top of his head
See
barely.
the top of his head. Was it the pork chops he almost succeeded in getting?
Probably that and others.
Yeah, we had Berkshire pork chops that he almost got.
So I think there's a clip of he almost did it, and then another one of he did it. And that might have been what that was.
Okay. Oops. Come on. I'm trying to make this. See, I'm not the. It's funny because my first major in college was actually radio, TV, film, and I am not the better cameraman here.
They had iPhones and stuff back then, right?
My brother is laughing at that. I don't know what. Like he didn't have an iPhone in 1987. There it is. Alrighty, let's do this. That's not quite dry, but we're going to use it anyway. So, I make enough of this oil to use. You never put the funnel back in the right place.
Where's it supposed to go?
Underneath, over there.
Oh, my bad.
I mean, that's. So I'm going to take this and just strain the oil into this bottle. It's so nice to have this around, like if I want to make a real quick pasta sauce or anything.
Oh, right. You're over there.
I'm over here. Can't see me?
Again, my
That's
bad.
okay. Nobody really wants to see me. It's fine. And now I have this nice herbed oil. It smells really good. It smells garlicky, and it's on my nose now, so I'm going to smell garlic the rest of the night. Look, more dishes for you, Robbie. Yay! Your favorites. So while this is heating up, I'm going to put a little of that oil in there, and that'll just add to the flavor. So we've got that herbed oil in the meatballs, and we're also going to cook the meatballs with that. And you know what? Now I'm going to make the sauce in there. So I was going to dirty another pot, but I think I'll wait. So, um, yeah, I actually have a corded phone upstairs. I do still pay for a line. It's like $2 a month. That way, if the power does go out, I can still call people, except I won't know what their phone number is. So, what were you going to say?
That you have the ringer of the one phone turned off?
Yeah, so don't try to call that phone because I won't ever pick it up because the ringer's off. I don't even know why I have it anymore. So my favorite story about phones, though, and I don't even know if David knows this. So back in the day, when we moved to St. Louis, we lived in Houston, and then we moved to St. Louis, and my parents got a phone for upstairs, and the kids' rooms were upstairs. It was still part of their system. It wasn't, we didn't get to have one of those cool, like, this is the kids' phone kind of thing. And it was one of those princess phones. And we had like a 50-foot cord on that sucker so that we could take it into our bedrooms. Remember that phone? And it was like, not like the phones you buy now that are corded. It was like all metal on the inside with the metal bell ringer thing on it. And I said to my mom one day in 2005 or 2010, somewhere in there, and I was like, why do you still have this phone? Because weren't you renting it? And she was like, yes, because back then you rented your phones, like we do the DVRs and stuff now. So you rented the phones. And I figured it out. I found out, talked to Mom, found out how much she had paid for that phone, renting it over the years. And she had spent like $2,500 on rentals for that phone upstairs over the years. And do you know what? When she called and said, I'm not going to pay this anymore, and they said, we'll only stop it if you send us the phone back. As if renting a phone and spending $2,500 for a phone that cost like $10 nowadays wasn't enough. She literally had to pack that thing up in a shoebox and send it back to AT&T. And she was still paying rent on that phone in 2010. So, and I never laughed so I was she was laughing, we were both laughing when I figured out, did all the math for it. So that was funny. You never heard of renting phones? Yeah. Yep, that's what you do. Let's see, is that hot enough yet? It's getting there. We're going to do a tester here. Cast iron takes a little while. If you ever cook with cast iron, it takes a little bit of time, even on a gas stove, to heat up. So I'd like to say, I always test something first. You know, like the people on TV, they're always like, I always test, do a tester. I would say I always do. I will say I do better when I do a tester, because sometimes I'm just too much of in a hurry, and then I end up ruining something, have to redo it again.
We enjoy watching you do stuff the first time.
That is, so M. Luck, it is awesome that it stays hot for a while. So that's why I like to use cast iron for this particular recipe, because I use it as an appetizer a lot. What? He's eating his own food this time, Rocky, so leave him alone.
He might have eaten the last bit of his food first.
Well, Rocky had his chance. He's not going to starve. He eats anything. So,
including napkins and rocks.
Rocks, yeah. Pencils. Cookbooks. Erasers.
Regular books.
Firewood.
Firewood. He does like firewood.
Mm-hmm.
He's half goat, half raptor, half puppy.
That's what I have said. I have said that he is part velociraptor, part Maltipoo, and part goat. So, a party line, yeah, so my parents would talk about the party lines that they had too. I'm sure Joyce had a party line,
Oh yeah,
huh?
they definitely did.
Yeah. Was it still there when you would go up and visit Nebraska?
No. before my time.
So anyways, I love this. This makes a really nice presentation when you're making like an appetizer, and then it will stay warm for a good hour afterwards. And it works perfect here. So I want this to get a little bit hotter. If I would leave it alone, it would probably cook faster.
I'm usually the overstirrer slash turner.
This is accurate. Or you forget to stir all together and then you burn the spinach.
That was the first time. and even then I didn't add any salt to it. And everyone's like, wait, it seems like it's missing salt. I'm like, you're supposed to add salt?
Robbie is a good person for learning how to cook. He was not like a big kitchen person, but I've always loved it. So when we met, he's learning how to do stuff. What he is really good at, and we're not making today, is he's really great at making pasta. And one of the things we want to make here is a short rib ravioli, and we'll do that one night. Anybody in the mood for short rib ravioli?
I am.
Should we do that?
Is it too late to
Well,
switch?
sold.
Yes.
Yes, because the ribs have to braise for hours. So they fall off the bone, so we can shred them and then do all that caramelized onion yumminess with them. Hey, I think it's finally the temperature I want it to be.
I hear the applause.
That's right. Can you guys hear the applause of the oil in there? So we'll put a few of these in. And do you guys know why not to crowd the pan when you're cooking things in it? David, do you know why you should not crowd the pan and just put tons of stuff in there?
Why?
He's a why. Because what ends up happening when we're doing things like this, we want it to turn brown, but if you crowd the pan, what you end up doing is you start steaming everything. So you don't get that brown from the bottom of the pan. You just get it gets cooked, but it doesn't have, the brown food tastes good part on it. Brown, I didn't say that right. Brown food tastes good.
Closer.
Well, I am sorry.
Could you bake the meatballs?
For these, I wouldn't because they are, it's supposed to be chicken parmesan. So when you're making chicken parmesan, you always have the chicken cutlets and you always pan fry them before you put them in the oven. So this is gonna go in the oven, but only after we've made that nice crust on there, right? Because you guys have had chicken parm, right? And it's got that nice crust on the chicken. So that's what we're trying to do here. This side of the pan is really dry. My oil is still warm. So, happy oil, happy food. Yeah, for sure. You're starting to type like Chef Negan. Ooh, it's getting a little.
You don't have a giant pineapple.
I do not. I just have my wheel of agony over here. What's going on over there? I'm
Nothing.
seeing a lot of hand gesturing from the boys over there.
Nothing.
Oh. They're going. I don't like being left out. They're kind of almost turning into that mini crab cake shape in here, aren't they?
Like a little too flat instead of meatballish.
Yeah. I follow Chef Negan. We've actually rated her a couple of times too, because she's sometimes still on when we get off. So that's good. Elser, hey, how are you? I didn't know you were in there. Good to see you again. I think now they're just gesturing over there to make me mad. Live studio audiences.
So what's going
So
in the oven?
Elser says hi to you.
Hi, Elser.
Robbie says hi if you couldn't hear him. Always good to see familiar faces and good to see new ones. And I can see now that I'm cooking these are wildly different sizes. That's okay. Because Chef Negan is actually a chef, right? Because I'm a home cook, although Robbie thinks that I will end up probably trying to go to...
She's threatening to go to culinary school and make it official.
I like learning new stuff. I can't do it right now. I'm in yoga teacher training.
But once that's done this month, look out.
I still have to decide whether I'm going back and doing my finishing up the other stuff, the PhD. Whew, it's smoky in here. I know, I don't want to turn the fan, maybe turn this fan on higher. I don't want to turn the exhaust fan on because then you guys won't be able to hear me because it's kind of loud. See, they're cooking much better on this side. I don't know why. The pan is tilting. So, yeah, that's what I figured. So I've watched her cook, like I watched her when she did the Harry Potter stuff. That was delicious. I saw her when she was out and about. Was that last week? She was out and about. I don't know what they were doing, but they were out and about doing stuff. Eating cinnamon rolls and such. So that's fun. She seems very down to earth.
You could do that. You could learn from YouTube.
I know there's nothing wrong with being a home cook. I don't have any problem with it. I like learning new things. And so there's some techniques that, you know, I struggle with a little bit being a home cook because I was never taught how to do them, you know, and didn't have to practice them. And there's some things like, you know, like fish. I can cook some fish dishes, but I grew up eating steak and pork, and we didn't ever have fish. I mean, literally, my dad did not like fish, so we didn't eat it at all. My brother is agreeing with me over there. So we had pork in many different forms, and beef in many different forms.
And beer.
And beer. And if we had anything that was fish, it was usually tuna melts or fish sticks. So I don't think that really counts as seafood. So I'm getting better, but it's expensive to practice making scallops and
Chilean sea bass.
Chilean sea bass, salmon, all that's expensive. So I'd like to learn other techniques rather than the 2 or 3 that I have. You want some herbs? Because I don't know that you'll really like those, buddy. You can go get them out of the garden. Why are you in here doing it? Yeah. That's something. See, I'd love to learn how to butcher meat. I do grind my own beef and, well, my own meat now, other than this chicken tonight. Because everything I was looking at was using a food processor and chicken breast, and I'm like, that sounds boring. I have a food grinder. Is there something against using a food grinder to grind your chicken, or is that because not everybody has a food grinder, that they're using food processors? Because it looked like it was just a big mess. And then I've got 4 more. We'll get those done. And then move on to the next step. Yeah, I do like doing it in parchment. I don't know that I've ever done it in foil. I love getting like a gigantic slab of salmon and then doing this good citrusy dill in the oven. And what did I do? I made salmon salad with the leftovers. I'm also big on doing stuff with leftovers and making new dishes. And that's probably because my dad also did not eat leftovers. And so we always ate the leftovers when he was out of town, but I think a leftover burger, leftover steak, awesome, but something like fish, pork. What we do, we did stir fry the other night with the leftover pork, and it was Berkshire pork, which was awesome, and we had this barbecue glaze on it, and so I made a sweet and sour sauce and used leftover vegetables, and I thought it looked pretty good. I mean, Robbie had second helpings. I don't think my brother's a big stir fry fan, but he ate it, so I guess it wasn't horrible. I thought it was good.
What, the other night?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. The meat is really good.
This is looking really good so far.
I love this dish. I love it.
It smells good.
And we're doing some homemade breadsticks. And if somebody's got a really good gluten-free breadstick recipe, I'd love to see it because I tried it. It didn't rise at all. But the gluten-full breadsticks look pretty good. But I started making those because I figured you didn't want to sit here and watch bread rise for 2.5 hours. But I could be wrong, maybe you do. So just so you know, these are not cooked all the way, we're just browning the outside. They'll go back in the sauce and they'll finish cooking in the sauce in the oven. So, parchment is awesome. I love parchment. Gluten-full, yes, gluten-full. I think it's a good one.
You do like to make up words.
I like to make up words. It's fun. All right, these are browning up. I'm going to let this cool down just a little bit because now it's a little too smoking hot for the sauce. And the sauce is really, really, really easy. Okay, because what we're going to use. Hang on. Oh no, I don't have anchovies in here. Okay. This is a super, super simple sauce.
Did you turn it down?
I did.
Oh.
I turned it down while they were finishing up in there because I could see how hot it was. So it's going to take a minute. It's still smoking. Filling the house with smoke. What was I saying? Oh, so I'm going to be using some San Marzano tomatoes. I really like the flavor of those. You have to be careful because they're not always that in the cans that say that. I was reading about that recently. But this is a pretty good brand, so I hope that they are. You could use, if you don't have these or can't find the whole peeled tomatoes, you could use passata. And I would use passata over a tomato sauce since the passata isn't cooked and we're already going to cook it. It's just different flavor profiles. But I have passata in here, I just don't have enough of it for the sauce because I've already opened it. But I like to use this because if I'm using just little bits for things, it's in a container that closes itself so I can save it. So just maybe a little lazy when it comes to that. So did everybody have a good weekend? Are you ready? Do you have like a Monday to Friday work week like Robbie, who is pretending it is not Sunday? So it's like they're little girls over there, like whispering to one another. They're like,
The red light's on. We're not supposed to talk.
I'm feeling left out here.
Isn't that how the studio works?
Kind of, but you're.
The problem is if we include you, we're including everybody on your show.
Oh, they're my friends. So to give flavor to this again, we're just going to use a little bit of the herb oil. There's still some in there from when we were frying stuff. I now, if you can see this side of the counter, there is now stuff everywhere. You don't have to show that side of the counter. I'm just saying there is. And what we're going to do is we're going to put these in there. We're going to cook them for a little bit of salt, and then we're going to add anchovies. Yes, anchovies.
Gasp.
Robbie loves it when I use anchovies and stuff. He actually does. He just doesn't know it. Because sometimes people have an aversion to something that they just don't understand. I use it in a lot of pasta sauces. It gives a really good flavor to it. So it's not yucky though. It gives an umami flavor to it. Like, you know, if you just really can't wrap your head around anchovies in there, which just really brings some salt and some earthiness, some flavors to it, you could use something like a soy sauce in there. But this works great. So I can't say I love anchovies on pizza. I'm glad you do. You go. But then again, you know what? I probably have never had anchovies on pizza. All right.
Never? Oh my.
Did I use this for the oil? I did, didn't I? So let this cook. See how hot, even waiting, this is still really, really hot. And anchovies are like a chef's secret. So if you think you've never had anchovies and you go out to eat, I'd be willing to bet that you've had anchovies. They're such a great, just to give a depth of flavor to food.
She's definitely fed me anchovies without telling me.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've had this before, so every time you've had this,
that's what I'm talking about.
You've had anchovies. I would miss having a gas stove too, Geek Boy. I missed it so much. When I moved into this house had tile on the floor. Look at this. I made a mess over here. And the same tile that was on the floor was also on the countertops and the backsplash and the fireplace.
The outdoor grill in the
The
bathroom.
outdoor grill.
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere, yeah. And so when we redid this, because this just had a ceramic cooktop, which I really don't like. I mean, it's a step above the electric ones, but that was the only, they're like, that would be expensive. And I said, if I have to forego other stuff in the kitchen, that is the number one thing, is bringing gas to the island here. My number one reason for doing the renovations. So, no, actually this house was built in the late 1990s, but the people who built it, it had very 80s things, like it had the tile on the floor, except the living room, which is open, it's just right over there. It was, what was that? It was laminate to make it different, and the dining room was laminate so that you could tell the difference, I guess, between the rooms. It wasn't good.
It's much better now.
And then they had like these decorative tiles in the tiles, I guess to make it look like rugs, but it wasn't done well. Like, I've seen that and it looks really nice.
It was like they were wrapping up for the day and they're like, oh, we'll just do this real quick.
And they didn't match, like the corners of things weren't matched up. It was pretty bad. But it's okay, it's good now. I liked the space because it's got big windows, lots of light, big kitchen. So I knew the kitchen could be something. It had one little lonely oven over here.
And now you have two, and sometimes it's not enough.
And sometimes it's two. Well, you know, I had a countertop convection oven because I was like, I cannot live with just one oven because I've constantly got them going. Yay, jars are packed. Everyone, Aladdin's girl is making pickled jalapenos tonight. She was talking about those on Thursday. See, now it's cooled down a little too much.
Not the anchovies.
Don't tell Robbie or my brother. We're going to put anchovies in here. The thing about anchovies is they really just fall apart and melt into the sauce. So we're going to do 2 of them. I'm just going to kind of tear them in there. You could chop them, or you could just do this. Because really there's not going to be chunks left. They're really just going to meld right into that sauce. I'm going to look at my brother's face and see what he's thinking. Well, Robbie's face looks like this. For real. All right, let's let that cook for a minute. I'm gonna taste it. See if it needs a little more salt. Take your guess. Do you think it needs more salt?
Oh, you've reached for the salt.
Before I reached for the salt, you knew I was gonna put more salt in there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we knew.
This is Robbie's pinch of salt. I go pinch of salt, and he goes, doot. And I'm like, that's not
I do more like a
pinch.
smidge.
Yeah,
Smidgen.
it is more of a smidge. I'm gonna clean some of this stuff while that is going. Start Robbie's pile of dishes over here.
Because I love doing dishes.
You do. He loves to do dishes. It's his favorite. You heard it. Write it down, record it, clip it. He said he loves doing dishes. So, let's see here. The backsplash, I don't really cook too much over there on the backsplash. It's a really great question because I actually was a little worried about that. Because it's stone and metal and glass. But I don't cook over there that much, so occasionally I have to go over and clean the glass and the stainless steel off when I do things in the mixer over there. But no, it hasn't been hard to clean. I've had the kitchen now for about 3 years, so thank goodness. So now, we're going to add these meatballs back. We're going to introduce them back into the pan. And then I'm going to stick them in the oven. Except, I'm also going to put cheese on it. So remember when I said, don't buy shredded cheese? I did, but they shred it at the store. So it's the same thing I would buy and then shred myself. And I was feeling rather lazy that day. And this is a little over 6 ounces. We probably don't need all of it. Or maybe we do. Should we do all of it? Like, are you guys big cheese people?
Are you really into cheese?
Because remember, we're making chicken parm, right? So we've got the sauce, we've got the chicken that's been breaded, and there's already Parmesan in the meatballs and coating the meatballs. And now we're doing the mozzarella. So just like it, but if you make these meatballs small, like they're supposed to be, it's a great appetizer. But I'm gonna let the boys eat when it's done anyway. And we're gonna stick it, which oven's at 400? It's the bottom one. I have no idea where the other pot holder is. I think it's in the laundry room. Okay. Do you wanna, I don't know. What do you wanna do, Robbie? You're in charge. I'm putting them in the oven. The other thing I'm going to put into the oven, oops, those kept rising. I'll pull them out. Well, okay, So I may have started these a little bit too early, so they're not really quite breadstick shaped, so we'll maybe do that a little bit. These are the gluten ones, the gluten-full ones. But I started them earlier, and it's a real simple recipe. I mean, it's just your basic bread recipe, right? And they look a little sad now that I've punched them down a little bit. Let's see what happens. Let's see if they look better when they come out after they've baked. If not, I have another plate of these. We can throw that one in and I just won't touch them. And I'm going to stick that in with that also is going in the oven at 400. It's just a real basic recipe. It's yeast, sugar, water, warm water, butter, and bread flour. That's all that's in there. Okay, what are we doing next? Oh, hey Robbie, how about a cocktail?
How about one? I'll take one. That sounds great.
How about if you make this one? We're gonna make Negronis, but I'm gonna let Robbie make them. Hi.
Hi.
Oh, you don't have it on.
I might have turned that off. Foiled her.
That's
Her
fine.
fiendish plans.
So.
But I'm making you a beverage, so it's not all bad.
It isn't all bad. No, the backsplash has not as of yet gotten dusty, and if it does, I'll just put a brush attachment onto a vacuum cleaner, I guess, and clean it. But it's been pretty good. I haven't noticed it yet. There it was. I know. I can't imagine anybody getting rid of their gas stove for an electric stove, but people do the strangest things. What?
I was just asking your brother if he would also like a beverage while I was making it.
Okay. It's gin and Campari and vermouth. He's got his. So my brother will not be joining us with the Negroni because he's got his whiskey. But if you like, I like Negronis because I don't like super sweet drinks, and it is, I think it's a 1-to-1 ratio, isn't it?
Sure is.
And so it's sweet vermouth and Campari and some sort of dry gin. We're using Beefeater's 24. Yeah, just in case Alton Brown stops by and he wants a drink, because that'll happen.
You never know.
You just never know, but you gotta have it on
He
there.
will literally be in town in a couple months.
I know, and we're going. And he's gonna see us and he's gonna say, "Can I come over for dinner?" That's what's gonna happen. I don't know, Robbie laughed at me when I said that.
I mean, that'd be great if it happens. I'm all for it. I'll make him beverages too.
You will. Hey, nobody's on camera. Oh, Rocky, you can go get on camera. I don't know why you're standing by me. I have water. You have water too. So the one thing about vodka sauce is it's not one of those sauces that is supposed to simmer for a long time, like a bolognese or a puttanesca or anything like that, or even a marinara. It's a real quick making sauce, so we're gonna make that at the last minute. Oh, meanwhile, Rocky, can you say hi? What is he doing over there? He thinks the boys are crazy. You want to get down? So this is Rocky. Again, don't let him fool you. He's super cute, but he is cute. I am going to make some pasta, but not from scratch today. He likes dry pasta. He thinks it's like the biggest treat ever, next to ice, which is weird, but cheap, so it's fine.
Camera froze.
The camera froze. Uh-oh, Robbie.
Uh-oh.
Robbie's to the rescue, maybe. Do you need to switch to this one while you
Switch
fix
to that
this
For
one?
some reason, that's
And then maybe unhook the other one? So, here we go.
Backup camera.
So we're using the backup camera for the moment, which means I can't do anything that you guys can really watch close up over here. Which means, yeah, that's fine.
Wait, here we go. Now back.
Okay. It's working again? Is it? It didn't look like it.
That's new. It's this one that usually
I
fails.
know. The world of tech. Usually when I was in RTVS school in 1987, we had two rules. If something wasn't working, is it plugged in and have you turned it on? And that fixed like 80% of the problems. So did you unplug the other camera?
I unplugged it and plugged it back in. I'm getting it.
Okay.
There's your beverage.
Thank you.
While I stepped away, everything failed.
That's right, it's your fault. Now, normally you would garnish this with like orange peel. I don't happen to have any orange peel, but I think it's such a pretty little cocktail.
believe we are
But I'm
back up.
probably the only one who's going to drink it because Robbie's not a big gin drinker, and my brother mostly drinks whiskey. I don't think you're going to like it though. But you go ahead.
It's got a taste to it.
It's got the taste to it. That's.
Yep. There you go. This has a taste to it. Yep. Yep. Okay.
Well, that was
So
fun.
pasta, yes. Reset. So this pasta recipe calls for 16 ounces of pasta. This was only 12, so I have a second bag. And we're just gonna take, there's a disembodied hand carrying my drink. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more in here. And we're also going to, whoops, I've been trying out different gluten-free, whoops, that was a lot, pastas, to see which one I like better. Yeah, it did look like Thing, didn't it? It was really pretty funny. I think the caffeine has had the effect to make me clumsy tonight.
Oh, that's
That's
not
for all the
new.
new people.
That's
If you've
not
been
new.
here. So we all know that if we're cooking pasta, we do want to salt the water. I'm assuming everybody knows that. I think I put salt in there. It's fine, I'm putting more. I'm just collecting things over here. And while this is going, because like I said, the sauce will come together in about 10 minutes when we start working on it. So hi, Sale24, thank you for following. Thank you. I'm gonna start getting the peaches in a bowl with the other stuff for the crostada so that we can put that together. And I love Freestone peaches, and my mom could always find them, and I cannot find Freestone peaches anywhere anymore. And so I am a very sloppy peach cutter. And I'm also not, I can bake really good desserts. I'm not the best baker though. So when it comes to things that require more of a deft hand, I'm still working on that. Another reason why culinary school would be good for me, or at least some classes. I heard about one that's like a couple of weeks just to learn things like making your own sauce, building your own sauces, and butchering things. Up in Chicago, that's only 2 weeks. Thought that would be fun. Are you afraid I'm gonna, oh, it's in the way? I've gotten lazy because he does all of this for me. I'm grateful for it, but I feel like it's kind of like, I don't know. Do you guys feel like you used to be really good at finding things and not having to use your phone for like directions, but now, even if you've been to a place 2 or 3 times, you feel like I need to have the thing tell me where I'm going? I know I used to know everybody's phone number.
Right, it's definitely like that for me in phone numbers now.
Yeah. Filleting fish. Hi, Felcarez, is that how we say it? And you don't need to call me Mrs. Lewin, you can call me Dana. I mean, unless you're pretending I'm, you know, your best friend's mom or something. No.
Some people just call you mom.
Some people call me mom. Morphine Bear's not in here. Kelsey calls me mom.
That makes sense.
I mean, she's my daughter, so that would make sense, I guess. I'm gonna leave the peel on these peaches for this particular thing. I do need to learn how to
It did
fillet
not
fish.
freeze again.
Uh-oh, it froze again. Okay, I know you guys can hear me. Robbie's trying to fix some stuff here. So meanwhile, you can just watch me. Oh, this doesn't feel very ripe at all. Well,
What's wrong with you?
he's not happy right
I don't know if it's,
now.
if it's overheating, 'cause it's...
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, so the phone's not getting hot. So my phone is this camera here that you're currently seeing. It's actually a webcam, and it's not near the stove. We've never had that problem before. We have had the phone shut down because we've used it outside.
It might have been really close to the grill a week ago.
Not a week
Or
ago. That
just
was
Thursday?
that was just
Oh,
Thursday.
Yeah, it almost cooked it.
Well, I mean, it's not that it was just close to the grill. It was also 102 degrees outside.
And that was with it in the shade.
Yeah, I know. It's hot. So yeah, the one that keeps freezing is just a webcam, so we don't really know what's going on there.
Okay, I think we're back.
It's always something.
We're back up.
Hi there. Good to see you again. Although really it's you seeing me. Yeah, so you can call me that. If I ever get my doctorate, which I have been working on, then I could be Doc Mom.
Mom Doc?
Mom Doc. But it's sad. I got kind of bored and stressed out by it, so I'm taking a break. So
you decided to do a webcam show
So
instead.
I decided, let's do yoga teacher training and do a cooking stream. Actually, it was my kids that talked me into the cooking stream.
That's true.
Because my kids were like, you love to cook and you should just stream this on Twitch.
And you made the really great steak for Cody.
I did. My son-in-law's a big Twitch guy. His name is Cody Spencer. You can see him. I host him when he's on, unless I'm on.
DS Koopa.
DS Koopa. And now he makes his own steaks, and he even decided to make a beef Wellington at midnight.
That was a week ago, right?
Yeah. Which is crazy. Crazy.
They got wrapped up about 1 a.m. their time.
Yeah. This is the worst peach cutting ever. It's fine.
Good thing there's 2 cameras on it then.
I know. You gotta make sure you get to see it twice. Ooh, water's boiling. Do you want to pour all that pasta in there?
Do I?
I figured you did.
So not this butter, but the pasta.
Oh, so butter melted? If the butter's melted, you can turn it off.
It's mostly melted. So all pasta in the water?
All the pasta in the water. And now we're going to try and attempt, I haven't finished this other part. I should finish that first. So many things happening all at once. So, yes, son-in-law. Yes, son-in-law. So, oh, you watch Cody? Yeah, he's pretty funny. I think that's what my kids were like. You should do this, Mom.
Where'd you go?
I went to go
Oh.
get this. Okay. So
Oh,
we're
hello,
gonna
food.
let's take a look at that right there. How's that look? Does that look good?
Melted enough?
Yes. I was gonna say don't pour that in there.
No, it almost fell already.
All right, I'm gonna keep doing this. We'll let that do.
I got you.
Okay. I'm telling you, the caffeine just made me a little crazy today. And yes, I am blaming the caffeine. So for these peaches, which this bowl is going to be too small to toss them in, so I'm going to put them in a bigger bowl.
Yay, more dishes.
I know! Aren't you so excited? We're going to put about 3 tablespoons of sugar in here. We're going to put a little corn flour. So not the stuff you make cornbread out of. This is flour, so it looks like flour, but it's made from corn. And I just want to double check here, just about a teaspoon of it. So that's about a teaspoon. And then we need lemon zest. I forgot I still have a mango in there. We need to use that somehow. Not tonight.
Yeah, there's supposed to be an orange peel on your drink. Sorry.
I know. I already said that, but I don't have any oranges, so that would be really hard for him to do.
Well, I didn't even look.
Oh, so you didn't look. You're just like,
Here's the alcohol.
F it.
Enjoy. It looks pretty, even without the orange peel.
I appreciate you making me a drink. How's that? So we got some lemon zest in here, and then I'm going to let this sit for about 10 minutes, and then we'll put the crostada together. But I do want those peaches to start breaking down the sugars. And I'm guessing the corn flour's in there to help like thicken up any juices when we get that in the oven. Okay, so do you guys, you want to get the little bowls and get yourself some meatballs?
Yes.
You had to think about that?
Just,
I'm gonna stick,
I'm the person that stirs a lot, and this looks like it needs stirring.
I'm just going to stick those in the oven and see if the gluten-free ones come out good at all. That's for the vodka sauce, okay. Would you like some chicken parm meatballs?
Come on.
No. That'll be for the pasta sauce. Remember, this is kind of an appetizer. So we'll just use these. And then when there's bread, the bread is done, I'll bring that out to you guys. Poor Robbie. Sometimes I'm like,
Look at that ooey gooey cheese.
I know, isn't that awesome? But I'm like, you're doing it wrong. I try to warn you when there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. You want to give that to David?
It might be very hot. Be careful.
You're having pizza rolls for dinner? Well, you know, you're in the Italian theme. That's awesome. These kind of meatballs, things like this, you can just sit like one day when you're bored watching TV or watching somebody's Twitch cooking stream, make a bunch of these, pop them in the freezer. and then just take them out. If you don't have time, if you don't want to make your own sauce, I mean, I like making my own sauces, but you could always buy a nice sauce and then brown them up, throw them in the oven with some cheese and the sauce. Be good. I think, what do you think?
Tastes like anchovies.
No, it does not taste like anchovies.
This is good.
Tastes like chicken parmesan.
Mm-hmm. So if you guys are here.
Looks like way better.
So I love doing this as kind of an appetizer while I'm finishing up dinner for everybody.
Mm.
And I rarely have more than a couple of these left.
They go quick.
Mm-hmm.
Really good.
I mean, even when there were only 3 of us one night for dinner, I think more, like 2/3 of it was eaten.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, we're hungry, so we're eating in front of you. I'll finish my meatball and then I'm gonna make the peach crostada. So, picture the meatballs as you eat. Have pizza rolls, but imagine you're eating these. I like them. Good advice, Mad Marky. Alright, I am going to put, how many times have I said alright tonight? Have you counted?
No, we need a counter on that.
So is the counter on the times I've messed up things? Yeah, that's it, right?
Yes.
Robbie has a counter of how many times I've messed stuff up.
You haven't really made a big mistake lately.
Not in a while.
You're getting better.
I'm getting better.
Or you're getting better at hiding them. Maybe that's what it is. Ah.
This does smell very, very good.
Tastes very good.
Doesn't it taste like chicken parmesan?
Rocky's still waiting for his.
You may not have any, Rocky. Next, let's get that crostada out and see if we can make this look like a crostada. It feels a little crumbly to me, so I have my doubts. Are you guys familiar with the crostada? It's usually a crust that's rolled out. You put fillings in and then you roll up the sides so that you see the fruit in the middle. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. Here's flatten this out. That's problematic. Thanks, Katsuo? Suo? 12121. Thank you for following. I don't know that this is going to go over real well on this baking sheet. Okay, I got a smaller one here. Here's another thing for you to watch.
It's all good now. I'm being fed.
He's eating, so he's happy. He's like, whatever.
So bring on the dishes.
So I'm going to tell you, this feels almost, it's an interesting dough. Like it's a really thick dough here. What are some of your favorite desserts? Because I'm looking to try and expand and get better at making desserts. So I'm looking for ideas. And sometimes it's just easier to ask other people. You know, like I ask 10-year-olds what they want to be when they grow up to help me decide what I would like to be when I grow up.
Ah.
I always seem to be doing about 4 or 5 things with my hair on fire.
At least.
When I said, I'm only going to do one thing, Robbie laughed and laughed and laughed.
I just knew better. I know you.
So, Okay, so Katsuo, good question. This is a dough. We're doing a crostada, but we're doing it out of almond meal rather than out of a gluten product, because I decided I've done them the other way and they've turned out pretty good, but I'm trying to find some recipes that are gluten-free for me. So I thought, let's try this one tonight as something to be a little bit different. It's on top of my cutting board, so it keeps moving. We'll do this. How's that? I'm running out of room over here, Robbie.
That's a bad sign for me.
He loves to do the dishes. Don't let him fool you. You guys were here. You heard him. So, ooh, I love gyros. Ow. Cheesecake, Robbie would probably be into that, but Robbie would definitely be into cheesecake.
I do like cheesecake.
I love lemony things. Bean buns. You always give me such interesting things to think about, Fallen Age, because those are things that are way out of my wheelhouse. But I should probably go there. Oops.
That sounds like it'd be fun to watch you make it then.
Probably. And do the bean buns, do they use bean paste? Because I do have bean paste from making something the other day. I can't remember what it was. Tiramisu. Love tiramisu. Robbie doesn't like coffee.
I'm okay with coffee flavoring in desserts.
Oh, okay. Well, then so tiramisu's
To a
okay?
point. But yeah, like coffee itself.
Okay. So maybe tiramisu.
More coffee for you.
I love tiramisu. I was going to do tiramisu, but then I was thinking of you and David. So, if you just got in here, we are doing some Italian food. We have these chicken Parmesan meatballs over here, which are really excellent. Those are something I have made before. I am making a crostada, which I have not. And it's been a while since I made a vodka sauce, but I have made it before. Coffee with dessert, not as a dessert. Okay.
Also fair.
Oh, ow. That would hurt. Mom's chocolate ice cream dessert. Don't you get that enough, Joyce? If I made it, would you come over and eat it? So now I'm going to put these peaches in here.
Oh, that's really boiling down there.
Oh yeah, can you?
That's probably done.
That would be my guess. You have to take the pasta out though and try a piece to see if it's really done. You can't tell by looking at it. So yeah, desserts, something I can make really simple desserts. I can make things that don't have to look pretty, but if you want it to look pretty and taste good, I can't. I've tried, like I've watched things and I try really hard. Penne alla vodka. It is penne pasta, and it's a sauce. It's a real simple sauce. It's got a little cream in it, and it's got a little vodka in it. Lots of tomatoes. Mine's gonna have some pancetta in it, because who doesn't love bacon? So, anything, Joyce, you'd eat anything I make? That's a nice compliment, thank you. Creamed rice. Creamed rice, I don't know that I've made that. I'm sure I have. It's hard, I try a lot of things just for fun sometimes. And so sometimes I'm like, I've looked at a recipe for that, did I make it? Because my memory's not what it used to be. So this is not going to fold up really nice like the stuff does with a true crostada. But it'll be very, very, very rustic, which is okay for a crostada because it's a pretty rustic dessert. But the dough's kind of thick. And it's kind of wetter than a crostada dough usually is. But there we go. So what's nice about it is it's going to have not just that peachy flavor, but because we used almond meal, hopefully it'll taste really good. It'll kind of a peach and almond-y flavor, because I love almonds. They're also. So you put aloe vera gel on it. If Joyce were going to tell you what to do with that burn, she would tell you to put soy sauce on it. Every time I burn myself, put soy sauce. And Joyce, just so you know, I have put soy sauce on it. I'm glad it works for you. Ooh, can you check the bread that's in the oven? Because I have left it there and...
It looks like bread.
But the bottom one is starting to, I think it still can get brown. Here's what I would like you to do. I'm going to have Robbie brush some butter and garlic powder on our bread.
On the bread?
Mm-hmm. To make a little garlic bread. And some salt. I'm going to put some salt in there too. If you have a cooking stream, does your kitchen look like this? Oh, there was my forks and my meatballs that I didn't use. And just get that green silicone brush. I don't know where you put it. And brush that on both of those kinds of breads. While I put this in the oven. So this is going to go in the oven at 340 degrees, which seems like a weird number, but it was really 170 degrees Celsius, so I guess that's a normal number if you're someplace where Celsius is a thing on your oven. So 340 degrees it's going in, and we're going to let that cook, and I will start making the vodka sauce. Hey David, do you want more meatballs?
Come on.
Yes?
Yeah.
Is that yes? Okay.
So both right?
Yes. Would you like to give me your bowl? So when you're in the kitchen with me during my stream, it is just like it is when you're not here. This is exactly what it's like in my kitchen. Oh my goodness. Hi, Chef Rocksteady. And thank you for your crew. Thanks for rating us. What did you guys make tonight? We have some people who are watching. Oh my gosh, I've already forgotten her name. She was making Bob's Burgers tonight, huh? It started with a K.
Kajira.
He's making random noises over there, so I don't know if he's right or not. Kojiria? Who's in here that was from that? Who's in here that was from her stream? Who came in from her
the
stream?
old-timey stove I told you about a few.
Oh, yeah. Robbie watches, while he's at work, he watches a lot of the cooking shows, so he's way more familiar with all the chefs, because when I'm working, I'm a therapist, so they kind of frown upon us watching TV while our clients are talking. Oh, Kanara, that was her name. Thanks. Yeah, so she came in here. And so what did you guys make? What did you guys make today? So, I don't spell well either, Sales, so that's all good. So, thank you, Fallen Age. We're going to start making, thanks for being here. Let me tell you what we're doing. We're about to make a vodka sauce for our penne. We have got a gluten-free crostada, peach crostada in the oven. We're going to see how that turns out. I've never made it before, so I thought I'd give it a try. We've got bread in the oven, and we have these right here, these delicious Parmesan chicken meatballs, which is probably my favorite thing that we're making today. And I have a Negroni without any garnish, but it's okay because it still tastes good. So, ooh, creme brulee French toast and omelets. Love, love, love French toast. Robbie doesn't like French toast, so I never get to make it. All right, Sal, thank you for being here. good night. Have a good dinner. All right, so I'm gonna start making the vodka sauce, and I'm gonna use my little cheat sheet over here because it's been a while. I haven't made it probably in a year or so. So we are going to start. Oh, I need my cutting board back. And my knife. I thought I was done, and I am not. So for those of you unfamiliar, I'm a home cook. I'm not a chef. So Chef Rocksteady, I'm assuming, is a chef. It's in his name.
It's a good guess.
It's a good guess.
Probably a safe assumption.
And I love watching chefs and how they're just super amazing at what they do. For those of you still in here that are always with me and hanging out with me, go follow, go watch, go support Chef Rocksteady. That is what we are here to support each other in the cooking stream so that we can have more really good cooking streams. It's a great community. So thanks, Chef Rocksteady. Thanks for following me. Do you wanna do it the other way too? I'm in here with so if you hear me talking to people behind the scenes, it is Robbie, who is
Just passing through. I'll go get the dog.
He is my part-time. I like to joke and say he's my part-time boyfriend, but he's not my part-time boyfriend. He is my full-time dishwasher and my part-time dog wrangler. So it's all good. I don't know why I'm trying to do this the hard way. Let's do this easy way. This is Rocky.
Since he wanted to say hi.
He wants to say hi, apparently. And Rocky is part Maltipoo, part Velociraptor, and part goat. True story. So, so Chef Rocksteady says hi, Robbie.
Hi, Chef Rocksteady.
Yeah, that is Rocky. Fallen Age put the little picture where he's happy and he's trying to fool you into thinking he's an angel, but he's not.
Eyeballing my meatballs.
So he's eyeing your meatballs. My brother's also here in the studio audience tonight so that he can eat. He lives in Houston. We're in Dallas. I think it looks like the thunderstorms have passed.
Well, your full-time brother.
He's my full-time brother. Exactly.
Part-time boyfriend.
I'm joking. He's a full-time boyfriend. He's also sometimes my part-time sous chef. Like, I want him to make sure that we don't burn the bread that's in the oven. Because I'm over here not paying attention to it.
There's a lot going on.
There is. Okay, so for my sauce, that's what it is. It's sauce.
I don't know how anyone does this by themselves. That seems insane.
Well, I'm not trying to do it so fast, so I would do one thing at a time. So we need about 6 tablespoons of olive oil. We need 5 cloves of garlic that I'm gonna mince here real quick. And also some pancetta. Oh, and by the way, I don't know if you guys have ever bought pancetta at the grocery store. But usually if you buy it where it's already chopped up or it's already sliced, it's usually about $10 for 4 ounces, which makes it $40 a pound. Or just go to the deli and have them cut you off a piece for $15.99 a pound. And then you can make it whatever size you want, however thin you want. But that prepackaged stuff is just so expensive and you don't always get what you want. In my opinion. I don't know if Chef Rocksteady agrees with me. All right. I understand the having to clean part. I do. Yours gets as messy as my kitchen? Because my kitchen gets messy.
Thanks again, Rocksteady.
So thanks again.
Have a
Thank you
good
again.
evening.
And everybody make sure you support, go follow, check them out. That's funny because last week we did breakfast for dinner.
We did.
We did that crab hollandaise, or eggs Benedict. Hey, Rocky.
And it only took you 2 times to get it right.
All right, bye, Geek Boy, Minnesota. Thanks for coming today. Appreciate it very much. All right, here we go. This will come together pretty fast here. Did the pasta seem like it was done?
Oh, it's done.
Geek Boy was cool.
I think it's okay. It's a little overdone, but not too bad. Thank you, Real Danger, for the follow. Okay, we're going to take some of this pancetta.
Oh, wait, there's still bread in the oven.
I know, you're supposed to be watching that.
And the dessert in the other oven now.
I know, but I got a timer on that one.
Well, they're not black yet, so I think we're okay. They're still quite pale.
They're pale.
They're getting there. I had the oven open for quite a while. I didn't know.
You had it off?
Open.
Oh, open. I mean, I've turned it off on accident. Things don't cook very fast when you turn the
That
heat
even
source
happens on
off.
cooking shows.
I know.
So you're just
Usually that's Worst Cooks or something. Oh no, it happened on that baking show. Where the professional baker.
Crime Scene Kitchen?
Crime Scene Kitchen.
Yep.
And one of the professional bakers turned the oven off and was wondering why the cakes weren't cooking. And I have to tell you, I mean, I feel bad when that happens for people, but it makes me feel much better. Just like when I watch
It happens to everyone.
people's streams, chefs' streams, I'm like, okay, I feel better. I just want to make, if you ever get pancetta that way, just make sure there's not paper on the outside, because that does not taste good in your food. I'm going to turn this heat on, because that would be helpful. Since we're talking about we need heat to cook.
It speeds up the process when the heat is turned on, that's true.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's hot in Texas, but not quite that hot.
Well, I mean, sometimes.
Sometimes. But
Sometimes
usually outdoors.
Outdoors. Exactly.
With the sun's up.
Because there are sometimes when I go out there and the grill is off and it's 350 degrees inside the grill. That's for the gas grill. Because the charcoal grill doesn't have a thermometer. Words. What is wrong with me?
I don't know.
Guess it's
That'll fix it though.
Mm-hmm.
That'll help.
This will make everything better. So we're going to start by putting the pancetta in here. It's probably not hot enough yet, but it will be. And can you bring me the fish spatula? And I'm going to let that go for a little bit before I put the garlic in, so I don't burn the garlic. How long does mail take to get from Seattle to me? You know, it used to only take maybe 3 or 4 days, depending on how it was shipped. But lately, since last January, or
Even that
I think it was that long ago, it's been taking a little bit longer. The mail has.
I mean, even for stuff shipped inside of Texas, it's been taking a
Yeah.
while.
And then can you give me enough? Oh no, that's the half and half. What about that? Wait a minute. I think, can you check and see if there's heavy cream out in the fridge in the garage?
Sure. Do you want to check the bottom thing of bread and if that's
I
brown
will.
for you?
I will check that in a second. Oh, you know what? I'm okay. There's enough in here. I didn't know how much I needed. So there's enough. If you would do me a favor and take 2 ounces of this and get it into the microwave for like 15, 20 seconds or so. You're going to
I'm
use
not
a
gonna
jigger.
put this in the microwave. I
Yeah,
know
we don't
that.
drink it all here. He's about to go get a jigger for that. How long, so Real Danger. So I have only been streaming for about 2.5 months. So I'm still learning the ropes. So I know that Our page looks a little scarce, and but we're working on it. We're trying to take it one step at a time rather than trying to do everything at once with this. But I do have, if you're looking for the recipes, which I'm behind on, I have to admit that every single stream I'm behind on putting recipes up. You can go to the social medias. The recipes will actually be parked at on the Facebook page, but there'll be links to the Facebook page on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you. And then we put the old videos up on YouTube, but they're not edited at all, so you just get whatever happened here. Cameras breaking, Dana going crazy, dogs barking, lawn guys coming in the middle of the stream.
That hasn't been a problem lately.
No, but yeah. So, well, thank you, Real Danger. I'm just doing the best that I can. And I'm okay with it because I'm doing this because I enjoy it. I love cooking and I love having people over. And, you know, I wasn't able to have people over for so long, and my kids were like, you should do a cooking stream. And you should do it on Twitch. And I'm like, I think I have a Twitch account. Because my son-in-law streams almost every day.
I think he's 6 days a week.
6 days a week he streams. So, yeah, you can check him out. You can check Cody out. DS Koopa. So now our pancetta. You're looking at my recipe card. That's fun. My notes. Our pancetta is starting to crisp up a little bit. We don't want it to get too brown, but we do want the fat to render out of it because otherwise it'll be chewy. So it's almost done there, but it smells good. Well, you know what else I put in here? I need some vodka. That I will use some sugar for, because why not?
Does it need to be rinsed out?
What's it? Oh, you've got, no, it's got the cream in it. It's fine.
Okay.
He did use the cocktail measurer to measure the cream.
It's what I know best.
He's like, I know this is 2 ounces. I am using whole tomatoes that I'll break down. I would normally use passata for this, which is an uncooked tomato puree. But I don't have enough of it because this needs to be somewhere between 24 and 28 ounces, and I probably only have about 16 ounces of passata left at the moment. But I do like cooking with passata a lot. It's really good for Italian cooking. If I'm making a chili, I like using tomato sauce, which is actually cooked. They're just different ways of preparing the tomato sauces. So if you're at the grocery store and you're looking at all the tomato, I'm so excited because you go now and you see in the tomato section all different choices, and not just, you can have diced tomatoes or you can have stewed tomatoes, and that's all you get. So he is a, it's sort of gaming content, video game store. Yeah, so Colin H, thank you for answering that.
I typed too slow.
He owns them with my daughter. That's why he's my son-in-law. And she's on his streams a lot. I like to watch when she's on. So here we are again, more tomato sauce, because we had the tomato sauce for, you know, the chicken parm. You pull them out when you think they're ready, and if they're not, he hates that when I tell him he's confident and can figure these things out for himself. Yeah, I mean, I don't think those are going to cook very well, so I tried to make some gluten-free bread sticks, but no, I don't think they turned out very good. Because they never rose, even though they've got yeast in it. The regular bread sticks did pretty good. So you can see this had some basil in it. I'm also going to add some basil in a little bit. So we're going to start by adding some vodka before we add the cream. And one of the things I've learned in working with cream in particular, cream or bread, those are pretty ugly, but hopefully they're good.
They're not burned.
They're not burned. That's important.
We'll start with
But
that.
we'll see if they're cooked all the way through.
So you're done with the bottom oven, right?
I am done with the bottom oven, yes. I have to think about it and say it out loud and repeat after him. I don't know why I'm parroting him tonight.
Dessert's got about 2 minutes so far to go.
Okay, so as I was saying, is one thing I've learned about cooking with cream and stuff is to keep it from breaking. It's to heat it up a little bit before you put it in. Like, it doesn't have to be hot, it just needs to not be cold. Hi, Bethany Louise, thank you for following. Thanks for being here. I appreciate all you guys. Thanks for being here. And note that even when you're making like mashed potatoes and stuff, heat your milk up. Heat the milk and the cream up because it'll keep them from getting lumpy. Your potatoes from getting lumpy. So I want this to cook down a little bit because the thing about penne alla vodka is that it's not supposed to be like a heavy, like lots of sauce. It's just supposed to kind of coat the pasta a little bit. So we're gonna let that cook down just a little bit and then we'll add the cream. So I had Robbie put the cream in the microwave for about 15 seconds, so it's kind of room temperature, which is perfect. And there we go, we're just waiting. Ooh, how does the crostada look? Because that's, timer's about to go off. I know, you know what he's gonna do? He's gonna do this, he's gonna go.
It looks a lot like when you put it in there.
Okay, let me check it. I think it needs to cook a little bit more. We'll give it 5 more minutes. But I don't really know. I've never really baked with almond meal. Thank you. I'll tell you what really looks good. Do you see those off to the these over here? That's delicious. That's my favorite part tonight.
Is it raining outside?
So a little bit more.
It's still raining.
Is it raining?
Well, the dog's all wet.
Here's Rocky. He's wet. That's not bad. He gets wetter than that when the sprinklers are on. He likes to run through the sprinklers. What? Thank you. Kisses are better. Don't forget, there's Puppy Cam. If you have enough channel points, you can activate Puppy Cam. And then Robbie will attempt to find what exciting thing they're doing at the moment. So, that is awesome. 1 jar left. 1 jar left. I'm going to turn this off to add the cream. And we're just going to pray that it doesn't break in here as we stir it in. Like I said, this is a pretty simple sauce. It comes together really fast. I don't like to put cream on while it's, unless it's like a custard or something I'm making into the heat, because I'm always afraid it's gonna break. And that may just be me being a wuss. I don't know, this works for me.
It's looking good.
And I'm going to tear up some fresh basil from my garden.
My favorite.
Basil is your favorite?
I really like it.
Okay. Because I thought ice cream was your favorite.
That's a dessert. You can't grow ice cream in the flower bed. Not the flower bed, the garden.
What if I had an ice cream plant?
Then you need to tell me about it, because that sounds amazing. And I think you might be holding out on me now.
My nickname for my friends is PETA, which stands for pain in the tuchus.
And you earn it every day.
I do. I want to stay true. Stay true to it. Okay. And now we're gonna add our pasta, which is very stuck
Congealed.
together and congealed. It's gluten-free pasta, so
Oh, okay.
we're gonna see how this works, because I think this one is made out of rice flour, so it probably would have been better to do that a little closer to cook time when we needed it in here. But you don't have to use gluten-free. I'm just trying out different gluten-free pastas.
Most of the time, it's still pretty similar.
Yeah. And I couldn't find, I really like the bigger penne, the one that, like, the noodles are shorter, but they're wider, because you get more sauce on, like, the inside of it. But they didn't have that in gluten-free, so. I don't think I've grown strawberries, maybe when the kids were little. We did have a big garden when my daughter was little. And she used to go out and pick the peas right off of the vine. Peas never made it into the house. They apparently were a backyard snack.
I'm pretty sure we had strawberries on the farm. But it's been a long time.
Well, you could ask your mom, she's here. Did you have strawberries on the farm, Joyce? Corn, I know they had corn.
Lots
Lots of corn.
and
Nebraska.
lots of corn.
I'm just gonna throw the rest of this in here.
More corn than you could ever eat. Which I'm assuming is why they sold it.
And you could feed a chicken with it.
Yes.
If you want to see a fun show about farming, I don't know if any of you guys are car people and have watched like Top Gear and stuff, but one of the hosts of that car show over the pandemic, well, I think right before the pandemic,
Yeah,
had decided to garden, and then the pandemic hit.
Garden farm.
Garden farm. Did I say garden?
Yeah.
I meant farm. Farm, like hundreds of acres.
Right, a big farm.
Hundreds of acres. Even though he had never done it before.
Which was part of the fun.
All right, so there we go for that. And I am looking, oh, it's over here. It's in front of me.
What? Again?
Uh-huh. So as you can see, there's a little lemon on here, but I don't mind putting a little citrus in my, I'm not gonna zest a lemon in here, but I don't mind that it's on here to get into the pasta a little bit. Because there are a lot of pastas I will actually zest some lemons. I actually have, I don't know if you guys have ever like done preserved lemons or made them. I have preserved lemons in the refrigerator.
She did confirm there were strawberries.
Okay.
I was not just imagining that.
Did she? Oh, okay. There we go. Woo!
Whoa.
I'm probably going to need your advice next year for tomatoes. My tomatoes are okay now that I've cleaned them out, but I had some early issues because I have a garden this year and I haven't had a garden in a long time. Oh, did the Crostada go off?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's fine.
Take it out?
Yeah. So there we go. I have to say the almond meal, the little bit that I had, is a little grainier than nice flour. So I bet the boys are very hungry here.
Are we done with the oven then?
We are done with the oven. So we will give them some food. I didn't even try it, which I should do to see if it needs more salt. No, I think it's okay. Alrighty, where did my go here?
cheese.
I know. Would you hand that to my brother with a fork? Do you have you have a fork?
Yes. What is this, Rudy?
This is penne alla vodka sauce. It's actually just penne alla vodka. But... So it's like a little bit tomatoey, a little bit creamy.
A little bit vodka-y. The cook's way down.
I don't know that I taste the vodka, but
That's really good.
yeah. I'm super good at turning the burner the wrong way, even though I've had this stove now for a while. And if you need a chicken parm meatball on there, let me know. All right, what do you think, Robbie? He's off camera.
I'm too busy devouring this.
Okay.
Very good.
I guess that's a good thing there.
I'm willing to wash the dishes again for another evening.
Did you say you didn't taste the vodka?
Well, you could go and buy
it
the
cooks really
sauce,
down.
but that would be kind of a boring cooking show if I went out and bought a bottle of Bertolli's and then just heated it up on the stove. But for those of you who don't want to make it, there, you could do that. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. Because sometimes I like a real good tomato sauce that tastes really tomatoey, but honestly, I'm really a cream sauce girl at heart. That's what I really love. This gives me a little bit of both. Like it's a creamy tomato sauce. And here we are eating in front of you. Actually, I'm the only one who's eating in front of you because they're behind the camera.
We can't let it go to waste. It's all fresh. And...
They're eating behind you. All right, bread.
Oh, we forgot about bread.
Yeah. Here's a bread stick. You can taste that, see if that's any good. They are not the prettiest breadsticks, but we're gonna taste them and see how they are. Thank you, Real Danger. I need to practice. It's not bad, but I think it got a little crunchier on the bottom and not as fluffy in the middle. I can't mix anything. It is pretty good. The bread, again, I don't do a lot of baking of pastries and stuff like that. There's a few things I can do really well, like Christmas cookies.
Yes, cookies are very good.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing wrong with the bread.
Well, there you have it. Maybe I'm just harder on myself. It's edible.
Well, that's a good start.
It's always a good start. Right?
Question 1, is the food edible? Yes or no?
If it's not edible, it's a problem. All right, I am going to. Really, one night you just need to count how many times I say all right. You don't have to do it for them, you need to do it for me.
The sauce is really good.
You know what else? This would be really good in this sauce too. So lastly, I'm going to cut a little bit of this other Crostada.
See how that turned out?
Yeah. I would serve this with either like some, if you don't want anything too heavy, maybe a creme fraiche, or you could put it with ice cream. Or if you're trying to be really healthy, you might do yogurt, like Greek yogurt. Am I even on camera? Kind of. Not
really.
that you need to see me. I want you to see the food. So I will try this. I really like the filling. The filling is really good. It's lemony. It's not overly sweet. It didn't like get too watery, because you know sometimes pies and stuff, the filling gets too watery.
Especially like apple pies.
They can if you don't have enough flour in there to soak up all the juices. I'm kind of on the crust. It's not terrible, but it almost has, you use coconut oil in it, like they were trying to be really healthy, so maybe if I did that, you did this and you didn't use coconut oil, you used something else, just like regular oil maybe, I'd like it better. The butter. I don't know. I'll have to play with it. All right. Good job. See, I said it again. You laughing at me?
You sure did. All right.
All right. All right. So.
Have you been hanging around Matthew McConaughey too much?
All right,
I mean, he's in Austin, like, right?
Is he a friend of yours I don't know about?
Teaching film classes, which used to be my major. That's what I graduated with my major in 1990.
Hey, 30 years later, you're finally using it.
This brings, I was like, I need to use that. I did radio stuff. I just didn't do any.
You didn't have a
TV.
Twitch stream in 1980 or 90?
How old do you think I am?
How old do you think?
You think I
Twitch is?
graduated before you were even born? I mean, you were in elementary school when I graduated college.
You're right. It would have been a Justin.tv stream back then. My mistake.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. So are you gonna find us somebody to go say hello to?
I will look.
Rocky is down here at my feet waiting for food to drop. It is way past his bedtime.
Well, it's because he wants some food.
Well, he doesn't go to bed spontaneously. We always have to put him to bed. But I want to say thank you guys, all of you guys, for being here tonight and participating and being chatty. I love that, and hope to see you again. I'm actually going on vacation, so I will not be here on Thursday and Sunday, but I will be back on the 12th, I believe it is. It's a Thursday, and I don't know what we're cooking yet.
You
So
don't?
I don't. I can look and see if I know. But one day, hopefully, when I go on vacation, I can continue streaming. But again, we've only been on for 2.5 months, so we're still working our way through learning all the ins and outs of Twitch. And I would not be anywhere near as far in learning this, knowing this stuff if it weren't for Robbie, because he's really stepped up and done a lot of the tech work and Twitch work and keeps me informed. And keeps me young, unless he's being an old man, and then he drags me down. But most of the time he keeps it fun. He's looking for somebody to see. Oh, okay, you've got Miss Molly Makes. All right. Can you tell me anything about Miss Molly Makes?
I believe we've waited her once before. I think she's from Australia.
Oh, that's the one from Australia. Okay. So she's the one who looks at the stuff on Discord
And I believe she's just getting going, so she won't be signing off anytime soon.
Okay, cool. She looks at food on Discord and stuff, so she's pretty awesome. So thank you guys so much for being here. Love you guys, and I will see you in a week and a half.
All right, thanks
All right.
everyone.
Here we go.